We appreciate this conversation and this spreading this for us a little bit further. Well, this notice to delist Nigeria's FGN bond from by JP Morgan was served sometime in June. So what has happened between that time and this? The initial deadline was December. Why did you think, or you guys at the central bank think that JP Morgan is making this move just within 2 weeks and say, look, we're just going to shorten it and move it backwards?
Well, that's when that news came around in January. Like I told you, the central bank tried as much as it did. You will recall that even at a point in time, we reduced the net open position for trading of banks to 0, which people complained about. Central bank listened and widened that net open position, which was increased, which allows bank to hold enough fund. And what we are guarding against then is to ensure that we don't leave banks with so much liquidity to encourage speculative trading in the market. This we have done. And if you also realize that shorting the CBN window and merging that same with the interbank market resulted in a depreciation of the currency, a devaluation of the currency by about 22%. And that was a very large devaluation, and which we think will impact on the economy. But if we do what JP Morgan wants us to currently do, which will result in further devaluation of our currency, and the issue is who benefits from devaluation of the currency, especially for a country that is a monoproduct producing economy and does not export any significant products to benefit from that. And it will hurt. And remember that if there's any policy that impacts even to the grassroots, is issue of exchange rate. Even those who produce just ordinary onions in the villages, we tell you that foreign exchange has depreciated and it has impact on the activity. Everything will be affected. So that is why the central bank is actually saying, look, let's look at it globally. How does this affect the Nigerian economy? Whose interest should we be protecting? Is it ours or that of the foreign investors? And that is why we're a little bit hesitant and resisting that, look, what the JP Morgan Index wants us to do currently at this point in time, we are a little bit hesitant to do that. But at the appropriate time, we are not saying we are not going to look into it. And I'm also happy that at least they know we can come back into this bond. And I want to also let you know that even some of the countries who are in the emerging market, India and China, as big as they are not in that index. And yet investors are moving into their economy in drones. And this is why one of the reasons we think that, look, let's sit back a little. Look at this. Do we want to go this full hog, and who benefits from it? So in the end of the day, I think we will also reevaluate our postures and then be able to do something in that direction. But for now, we feel that it is going to be very, very hurting to the economy.
From all indications, based if we put that everything your reactions together, it looks like the central bank has taken a position with what you've said and with what you've done, and most likely the JP this action will not change between now and the end of September.
No, let me just tell you, the JP Morgan has already taken a decision. It has been approved, so they are not changing. For now, all they are telling you is that we have been removed. It has been approved.
But will the central bank change its position between now and September ending?
No, we will not. We cannot change. We have to wait for the next 12 months. This decision has been taken by JP Morgan, so there's nothing we do now that will make them change their mind. They are only going to give us the next 12 months to be able to reappraise our stand. A decision has been taken, and that is that they have removed us.
Okay, very interesting conversation there. Very worried, but of course. But look at what this was a very small statement yesterday, a cover note, what you call an executive summary, as it were, to an economic bulletin released yesterday by Financial Derivatives. Paragraph 3, and I'm reading that here, says, we expect, that's Financial Derivatives now says, that this action from the JP Morgan will motivate policymakers towards adopting a more market-determined exchange rate in the medium term. What's your understanding of that statement?
Yes, I listened to Rewani yesterday, and even when he said that, he said it in a context. And that is the fact, yes, in the medium term, we are going to do that. Nobody is saying that it's a fixed exchange rate. The central bank does not intend to maintain a fixed exchange rate. But what we are saying is that at this point in time, it's not really fixed, but the issue is that the adjustment or the depreciation is not as fast as they would have wanted, but we are not really operating a fixed exchange rate. In the medium to long term, things are going to change. With the improvement in the fundamentals we have, definitely we are going to improve the trading process and the exchange rate. And this, of course, we have always been discussing with the market. We don't intend to permanently shut that market. We don't want to shut out anybody. We are still interested in having our foreign investors come in, and our fundamentals, like I told you, is good for people to come in. And also note that JP Morgan is just a fraction of the investors we have in Nigeria. And I will also tell you, like somebody referred to, a lot of them have even gone out before the elections we had in April, and they are waiting. And I'll tell you, a whole lot of them initially never believed that Nigeria will have a successful election. And that was why they ran out. And now that we have, they are waiting on the wings to come in. So I believe that a lot more will come in. That is where we are now.
Very quickly, what has happened in the last 24 hours? What has been the communication between the central bank where you work and your director with the DMBs, the deposit money banks in Nigeria, with the commercial banks and others? Have you been on phone calls? Have you had meetings and conversation? What are their concerns? How are you meeting them, moving on this news forward to calm the market a little bit further? What has happened? Talk to us in the last 24 hours.
Yes, in the last 24 hours, as a matter of fact, we have been in contact with the DMBs. We have been discussing and we have been monitoring what has been happening. Just like you notice in the fixed income market, initially in the morning, there was a little bit hike in the yield, but later in the day, there was normalization. So we expect that with this news, initially you always expect that in the market, there will be an initial panic. But depending on the response, and then people now sit down to fully analyze the implication of this, then then the market calms down. We expect the market will return to normal. And while we're also discussing to ensure also that we have always assured the foreign investors, genuine foreign investors, that look, for those who want to exit, and we have been doing that religiously until recently when we begin to notice the issue of carry trade, which we do not intend to actually encourage, that those who want to exist, we can always allow them to go because there are people who are also willing to come in. Like I said, the fundamentals of the Nigerian economy is very, very good, and people are willing to come in and invest in Nigeria. So we've been in touch with the market, and we're also working out laying different scenarios and options on which to act in case things do not go the way we expect.
Okay, we appreciate your time today. We'll be keeping an eye on the MPC meeting, which is in about a week from now.
Thank you very much.
We hope that meeting will provide more clarity to some of these issues from the monetary policy meeting. Thank you very much for coming through, Mr. Okeje Emmanuel, who is the Director of Financial Markets at the Central Bank of Nigeria.